probably old. We're looking at a, cask strength barrel proof that's like a pretty respectable proof, and we're looking at a rum finish. I'm excited for this one. Oh, and it's called Lapulapu, so It's also fun to say.
I don't want to talk about how much whiskey I just got on my blazer.
Hey, thank you for joining us for your dose of Weekly Whiskey with John and Jay.
Weekly Whiskey is made on Mackie. If you'd like to find out more about the top-notch studio gear we're using, you can check them out on Mackie.com.
Rock on. Yeah, thank you, Mackie. Now let's go ahead and get on into it. So, John, what are we drinking today?
Got a big rye review for you tonight. This is one of the big annual releases out of Whistlepig. This is the Boss Hog Volume 8. This is the continuation of Magellan's Atlantic. So this is the Pacific version. And this is the 17... I think the same 17-year rye whiskey finished in rum casks.
Yeah, so let's dig into that for just a quick second. So
Yes.
The age statement has gone away. So I believe that you are correct, but for the record, we don't know it for sure. It's not on the bottom. This is still a single barrel expression, so we're going to see proofs between about 105, I think it's high 104, 104.8, all the way up to 106.6, so pretty narrow band. These barrels are coming out pretty consistently close to each other, and they are finished again, so they're getting a nice secondary maturation in what they're calling Philippine rum casks. So we don't have a good idea of the source. There's a couple people it could be, so we're not going to go ahead and speculate there, but we're looking at a probably old... We're looking at a, cask strength barrel proof that's like a pretty respectable proof, and we're looking at a rum finish. I'm excited for this one. Oh, and it's called Lapulapu, so It's also fun to say.
It is fun to say. It's fun to look at. I mean, the Boss Hog is always a cool release. Whether or not you agree with the pricing or not, it's a cool release. It's usually something that is well off the beaten path. And I think that is kind of the fun behind it. I understand that there's a lot of grief around the pricing of Whistlepig products. I kind of stand behind a lot of their pricing, to be honest with you, because I think what Dave Pickle did when he built this brand makes a lot of sense, especially in today's whiskey market. But none of that matters if the whiskey sucks, right? So let's dig in.
I'm good with that. I'll get on my $500 soapbox later, but I'm excited about this one. So,
all right,
what are you getting?
Man, right off the nose, I'm getting some things that sort of remind me of some of the barrel products that we've gone through, actually. Mm-hmm. Barrel bourbon. A lot of their releases, they do some really great... the way they look at their portfolio is that they've got a lot of ingredients, and they use those ingredients to make their best product. I think this is starting to slide down towards a product like that, where this is not just take some rye and chuck it in a cask. This seems to have been married in a way that on the nose I really like. There's a good punch of that classic rye spice, especially in older rye that's got a good oak influence, heavy background of caramel, but then it's backed right up immediately with that big rum character, a lot of fruit, a lot of good sugars on the nose too.
Yeah, this is
very bright.
Really complex too on the nose. At first you get that big rye spice, the really herbal, really powerful, really balsamic rye, and then the rum sweetness kind of storms right in. It's really subtle. It picks up with time. Right into that first sip, which I'm currently loving.
Wow, I'm gonna let that first sip just hang out for a minute.
That's nice stuff.
That's leaving an impression on me, man. I like that.
It's big and powerful. I'd actually think it was more concentrated alcohol wise, maybe up near 60% instead of 59 or 53, where this is really sitting. This is rich and syrupy.
It is. It's doing a lot on the palate. Wow. Really coats. Very rich, luxurious even.
Yeah, and something I'm always concerned about when I see a rum finish is it's very easy for rum, based on the origin of the rum, the dosing of the rum, if there is any. It's really easy for that rum to bludgeon the spice of the rye down, right? It's very easy for rum to take over. We see this a lot with some sherry casks. It's really easy for that wine to take over the base spirit. The base spirit here is not going to lay down flat. This is really complex and really spicy, which I like.
It is. And it's backed up very nicely. I mean, this rum is kind of like a backseat driver in this grand scheme of tasting. I mean, The rye is doing the heavy lifting, and then that rum is right in the back seat, kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm bringing a good punch. Fruity, sweet to balance out that nice long rye spice. Finish rolls right back around to that big rye character, that Alberta, that, that deep Canadian rye that we really dig. Jeez.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
I'm kind of excited about this. The more I sip this, the more I want to sit down and think about it. This is like a 1 hour sipper, I think. If you chuck yourself a ounce and a half in a glass here, I think you could really sit down and stretch out your legs with this one and hang out with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is one to think on. It's really complex. We're seeing that rum is integrating nicely. It's bringing a lot of flavor. We use the word texture a lot. This has really wonderful texture. There's a lot to kind of dig through and find. This isn't something... I'm trying to think, they're not in the same ballpark, but when I sit down with like Sazerac rye, a 6-year rye, I sit down like, oh, okay, a little rice spice, a little sweetness, cool, boom, drink it, done. Like this, the more you smell it, the more I'm tasting it, the more I'm letting it sit in my palate, the more... as you work through the finish, there's a lot going on here. It's complex. There's tons of texture. And honestly, I'm just going to throw it out. I would spend $500 on this. I'm probably going to go find one of these.
Holy shit. I came into this thinking maybe not, but I'm coming out of this thinking maybe like there's not a lot of things that I'm going to tell people, look, this is worth $500 because price is probably more subjective really than flavor. Like,
yeah,
the things that I think taste great are the things that I like, but the things that I think are worth the money is like really where you sharpen the pencil. Like, is this really worth it? We might be talking about worth it here.
Yeah, it's going to take some budgeting on my part. Like, I'm going to have to get a little creative, but I would totally make that happen. And that's what I like. Like, this will sit on the shelf until I am ready to go out and buy it. And I think that is what Dave Pickerel was working on. Rather than someone buying this for $99 the day it drops, selling it for $500 the next day, they're all gone. Nobody gets them. This is meant to combat the secondary. It's meant to be available for people who want to buy them. Whistlepig is making, they're making that money. It's not just going to some guy on Facebook. I admire that. I think it's a great plan. And honestly, I wish Antique Collection was all $500-600 so I could go scoop a handy, a Thomas handy every fall for $500 when the budget's ready for it. So I'm a huge fan of this. I don't know what you think, John, but this is, Magellan's was really good. I think this is even better. This is going to get high marks for me.
Phrasing notwithstanding on your part, I do think that Magellan was good, and I liked it. I kind of really liked it, actually. It was an elevated expression for me. I dug it. This goes a step further into territory that, to me, is a little bit more exciting. I think Magellan's was groundbreaking. The things that they did with the teak wood. It was cool. It was stuff I'd never had before. It was exciting and fun in that way. But this is exciting in a Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottle and bond way, where you can pour this out on Saturday night, sit down and spend an hour with it, and then the following Friday night, pour it again and have a whole new experience and still love it. Like, this is a fun pour. I think you'll get a lot of mileage out of this.
I am right there with you. I loved Magellan's because I thought it was interesting. I didn't think I would own anything like it ever again. Super fun. I'm gonna go buy this because I think it's honestly just fantastic. It's delicious. And sue me, I can't wait to make a Manhattan with this. I bet this thing is gonna be crazy. Ooh. But only one, because more than one feels like sacrilege. But I gotta know.
Hey, great ingredients make great things, right?
Absolutely. I could not agree more, and that seems like an excellent note to close on out.
Got yourself a deal. Thanks, guys, for catching your dose of weekly whiskey here with John and Jay.
Yeah, if you guys would like to become part of our community, if you'd like to support what we are doing and gain access to inside information in the whiskey world, you can do all of this by heading on and joining us over at patreon.com/thewhiskeynet.
Also, don't forget to check out our studio sponsor on Instagram at Mackie Gear or on Mackie.com.
Yeah, Mackie is making us sound great, and they have everything that you might need for your studio or your podcast setup as well. If you're looking for more from John, you can find him over at thebourbonfinder.com. And if you're looking for more from me, I'm Jay over at whiskeyraiders.com. We're your Rotten Tomatoes of whiskey information and reviews, and it's been great to have you with us. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers.